Hello and what is going on today, guys? Tomcat here and welcome back to Forza Horizon 4 for a brand new episode of Stock versus Tuned. Now, in this episode, we are going to be running the Chevy Colorado ZR2 against the 2015 Corvette Z06. Now, the Z06 is going to be the first one that we run. It is completely stock, 650 horsepower, 650 foot-pounds of torque, and we're going to go ahead and hop in it. I'm going to give you guys a quick little rundown of the Z06 because we've seen the Z06 quite a few times at this point. We don't really need any introduction to the Z06. Very few people need any introduction to the Z06 at this point, although this should definitely be a fun one because it is winter, and that means traction is going to be at a bit of a premium. So let's see how this thing drives on the way over to the highway. Traction is an issue up until about third gear. Once you hit third gear, though, you're good to go, and it's actually pretty well stuck to the ground at that point. Now, these cars have always had, they've always had very, very high limits from factory. They're not, they're not like all over the place and wild. They're very planted, unless there's driver error in there, which there sometimes is, which sometimes leads to people calling these wild and skittish cars, but they're really not. That it only happens when the driver themselves is all over the place. They're actually quite predictable. Now, let's see if we can, come on. Takes a couple clutch kicks to get it going, but it will hold a slide in fourth gear all the way around the roundabout, which I can fully clarify that the Colorado will not do in stock form, considering the fact that it is four-wheel drive and it doesn't actually have all that much power. But let's go ahead and get a run in the stock Z06 and see what it can do in 3, 2, 1, go. Kind of pedaled it a little bit there, trying to make sure I was getting as much traction as I could. I don't know if that helped me or hurt me, but I think we're still going to get a good speed reading one way or another. Don't you do it. Okay, thank you. It's like, thank you. Don't come over into my lane. And across the trap at 175 miles per hour. So 175 is a great goal for us to shoot for in the Colorado. Now, let's go back to the house and see what it can do fully stock compared to that 175, of course. So here's the truck in question, the new Colorado ZR2. Well, it isn't really new, but it is new to me because I only recently unlocked it. Because this thing is actually, up until this point to where you could unlock it during the winter season, this has been quite a rare truck, and it's been one that's sort of eluded me for quite a while. Which is weird because I was actually one of those people that got the Crown Vic from a wheel spin super early on. So I had the Crown Vic for a long time, but I never had this. So let's go ahead and see what this thing can do from the factory, which I've never run this thing stock before. I mean, it's pretty slow after getting out of that Z06. Obviously, it would be. But it's actually not as slow as you might think it would be for a, mid-sized truck. It's actually, I would say, probably pretty quick for a mid-sized truck. The only thing with it is that you go to the interior and you're like, oh my god, it looks so bland in here. Like, even the dash looks bland. Like, you don't really want to spend any time in the interior because of how bland it looks. And I get that there's really not all that much to an interior if your driving experience or your driving dynamics are good. But, with something like this, with a truck, you kind of want a nicer interior because, you're going to be spending, especially with something like this, if you take it camping or something, you want to get back in your truck and have your truck kind of be like, your refuge from the elements in a way, you know what I mean? It's like your truck should feel like home and there should be some personality to it, and there's literally none in this thing's interior. But that is irrelevant to this challenge because we are about to launch it and see what it will do in stock form through the speed trap. So we got it all loaded up. 3, 2, 1, and go. Ease it out of the hole and just stay really flat the whole time. Flat to the floor on the throttle. No lift except for shifting because it's got a stock transmission and it'll get angry if I no lift shift. Like this, for example. Well, it actually didn't get that angry. It got, it kind of bucked a little bit, but it was like, you're good. Don't worry about it. Come on, little Colorado. And 126 miles an hour as opposed to 175 from the Z06, which means we've got our work cut out for us. So let's head back to the garage and see what this thing has actually got, and what it's actually capable of. Alright, so build time. Now, build-wise, I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and fully build the stock engine. We know from a previous video that I did that the stock engine is capable of over 700 horsepower when you throw twin turbos on it. Now, the only problem with that is the fact that the Corvette is still a Corvette and has a massive aerodynamic advantage over us. But I think we might be able to brute force our way through it, and if we can, then, you know, good on us. If we can't, then it's off to the engine swap department. Now, throwing a twin turbo setup on this thing, well, now I kind of want to throw a supercharger. Well, no, twin turbo's got more potential. So I'm going to throw a twin turbo setup on it, and then we'll go through and build that all the way out, including the race turbos and the race intercooler, and that gets us 734 horsepower and 584 foot-pounds of torque. Now, there's a little bit more to do, obviously, with our brakes, our suspension, you know, just kind of giving this thing a little bit more potential. I just want to go through and put everything on that I possibly can that will either reduce weight or add adjustability. Now, with the race weight reduction, that brings us all the way down to, to 3,687 pounds. So basically a 3,700 pound mid-sized truck, which is pretty light. Now, a race clutch, a race driveline, and race diff will be added, and the gearbox will be left stock for stock ratios. So tire-wise, I'm going to go for a snow tire or off-road race. They're basically the same thing. Widest tires we can fit underneath it. And wheels-wise, I actually think I might leave the stock wheels because I think they look good in this application, and I also think that they might add to the sleeper factor a little bit. So aero and appearance-wise, we could do this bumper or we could do this bumper. And I think I kind of want to do, wow, so everything you can put on it is non-adjustable. I'm gonna throw this one on it just because I like it a little bit better. I'm gonna do the, let's see. I think I'm gonna go ahead and run the roll bar, but without the little pods on top. And I'm gonna take the rock sliders off of it. So that'll be a little bit better of a, well, I don't know if it'll be a better setup, but it'll be well-rounded for sure. So I think that's about all that we can do when it comes to the stock engine. That puts us in an S1 class, and I think it's got a lot of potential, but I don't know if it has 175 miles an hour worth of potential. So that is what we were about to find out. I'm pretty excited, and I think that it has a chance. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below if you think it's got a chance or not, but oh my god, that's a loud turbo. The spool up noise and the blow off noise, listen. That's really loud. It's pretty quick. And the stock transmission actually doesn't respond all that terribly to the power. Well, I should say the stock gear ratios. I mean, really, because that's the only thing that's stock in the transmission now. I mean, we have, you know, race everything else in our driveline, you know, like our clutch and flywheel and drive shaft and differential. All that stuff is race, but the transmission gear ratios are still stock, and I don't think they're really exhibiting much of an issue with this power level for sure. Locked up the brakes there a little bit. Didn't mean to, though. Come on! It'll keep going, but it'll keep sliding for a little while, and then eventually it will give up. Like, eventually it will give up. I'm sure I could tune it to slide a little bit better, but that's not what this is made for. Totally, 100% not what this is made for. So, the fully built Colorado ZR2, will it be able to manage 175 miles an hour through the speed trap or more? And with that, will it be able to beat the VC7 Z06? So, 3, 2, 1, launch control enabled, and go. Certainly gets out of the hole very well. There's 100, 110, 120, into 5th, 130, 140. Come on, 150, into 6th, 160 miles an hour. And almost 172.7, so very, very close. Very, very, very close to the Z06's speed, but it didn't beat it, which means that gives me permission to take it back to the garage and throw something ridiculous in it. To the engine swap department it is, which means we are off to throw a 7.2-liter racing V8 into this little truck, and that is going to transform this thing to lengths that I can't even begin to imagine. So we've got race everything, including race turbos, race intercooler setup, race everything, and that lands us right in the middle of 1,356 horsepower and 1,021 foot-pounds of torque. Now, we weigh a little bit more, but we've got so much brute force that I highly doubt there will be any reason for us to not outrun the Z06 at this point. Now, they were a really good match when the Z06 was stock and this had a built stock motor, but now I am very confident that the little Colorado will absolutely decimate the C7 Z06. So let's find out, first of all, how it drives and then how it runs down the highway. Yeah, it's stupid fast. For a little truck, it is stupid fast. But with that being said, it's actually still quite controllable. It'll all-wheel slide whenever you kind of just want it to, and it drives really well. I would almost say it's, like, fairly civilized, even at, like, 1,350 horsepower. Probably because it's, like, a larger vehicle, and that does mask the speed a little bit, but hey, now it will properly slide, though. You can get it to do a full lap of the roundabout all day long, but that's not what we're here to do. We are here to run it down the highway in... Oh, wow, okay. Come on, launch control. Wow, the launch control is, like, really finicky now. Hang on. There we go. Now we can preload it. 3, 2, 1, go! There's 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160. Oh my god, there's 170. We've already beaten the Z06. We're in the deep into the 180s now. Come on! That, my friends, is a 205 mile an hour Chevy Colorado ZR2 that has also currently, like absolutely just decimated a Mini and pushed it off the road. But if you enjoyed this episode of Stock vs. Tuned, make sure to hit that like button. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys thought of it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe for more. And I will see you guys next time.